Now it is the second half of my podcast where I answer questions or letters from my fans. Today we're doing it a little different. Instead of advice, I'm actually have the floor open for you guys to just ask me anything you like. And some of you have had some really good questions. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but we'll probably only do about 5 or 6 because I hate to bore you guys. And I know I'm probably not boring, but it's a thing I have in my mind where I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of time. All right, so let's get started. The first question is, how does your family feel about your adult film career? How does my family feel about my adult career? Well, I will say this. When I first got in it, I had a lot of reservations about it because I was really afraid that people would think that I was some slutty hoe. But the truth was, people already thought that of me. People had already put me in a box of what they thought that I was. So when I would tell people, I'm going to be an adult film star, yeah, right, ha, whatever, you would thought. And I get that because a lot of people say that and they end up never going through with it. But I have this vision that, no, I'm going to go through with it and I'm going to be the biggest one I can possibly be. You know what I mean? Like, I really wanted it. And I read this book called The 4 Agreements. It's my favorite book. And I had read it on a plane ride to my first shoot with Reality Kings. And I remember where, it gives you 5 agreements that you do. You don't take anything personal. You do your best, no more, no less. It has all these agreements, and I live by them. So when I got to don't take anything personal, because that idea that people have of you, it's their idea. It's not really you. It really gave me an aha moment. And I remember contacting my eldest sister, and I told her, Sissy, I just have to live my truth. And she was like, what the hell are you talking about? Because this is me randomly calling her. So she doesn't even know what's going on. She doesn't know I've read this book and that I've had this moment. And I said, I just have to live my truth. I said, and my truth is adult film right now. I said, I feel like in my bones that if I do this, I could end up being successful in it. And I need to know that I have support. And my sister said, you have, the support of it. So I felt a weight off my shoulder, like, oh my God, my one of my mentors, my big sister, she is, okay with this. So then after I do the shoot with Reality Kings, and that went beautifully, and I did a couple more shoots there, I went home, and me and my dad were sitting down, and he said, what were you doing in California, And I, Dad, I don't know, trying to, dodge it a little bit, and then I told him, I said, well, Dad, I'm making really good money. I'm providing for myself. I said, and I just have, a gift for a thing, and I don't know, a lot of people wouldn't really like it. And my dad said, you are a grown woman. He said, you have been responsible. You have lived your life the way that you wanted to. He said, all I want is for you to be happy. And whatever you choose to do with your life, you do it to the best of your ability. You rock that motherfucker until the wheels fall off. And that's exactly what my daddy said, was rock that motherfucker until the wheels fall off. And I felt like, oh my God, I'm good now. I can do it. And then at one point, my mom would open my mail. Sometimes I would get royalty checks. My mom would open my mail. So she knew, and she'd say, and I'd say, well, deposit in your account, and we keep going. So I say that for the most part, my parents and my family are very understanding, and they know that this is my path. They know that I'm not addicted to crack. I'm not in TMZ. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, having any kind of weird scandals. I haven't OD'd. So they know that my career choice has actually probably paid off and has been a blessing for me. So they worry about me in that respect because, again, they're civilians, so they don't really know all the details that goes into what I do for a living. They don't know about me producing it, directing it, starring in it, writing the script. They don't know about that. So I just try to make sure that they understand the advocacy part of it, that yes, I am an adult film star, but the reason that I do it for the most part now is to kind of be an example for any other adult film star who looks like me or feels like me, and they feel like the girls that they see on the big screen don't really represent them. So, they're getting the hang of it. And I think, Cardi B has helped a lot. Megan Thee Stallion has helped a lot. You know what I mean? Like seeing them do all of that and kind of like, oh, well, that's what my baby do. That's what Jessica do, so they're pretty cool with it. Thanks so much for the question. So we'll move on to the next one, which is, how do you schedule your time? Oh my goodness, how do I schedule my time? My team will tell you I schedule my time like a penny pincher. I believe that time is the only thing of value. Time is the one thing you cannot get back. You can get money back. You can get shoes back. You can get a new hairstyle back. You can even get that body back. But time, you cannot get back. So usually my schedule, I have a planner that I live by. I have a yearly planner. And when I first got it, it was just kind of like a dream planner. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really have a lot of shit going on, but I was like, if I write it, it's going to come down. You know what I mean? So when I first started, no, I was not scheduled, but I was scheduled enough. But, and then once I got into the hang of it, I live by this planner. And it is pretty good. So I'll just read, let me see. I'll read a Friday the 13th, what I did. Okay. So Friday the 13th, it was, where I drank 2, 4, 6, 8. I have how many cups of water I drink. I drank 3 out of the 8. So don't judge me. Then I had to waist train for 4 hours, and I have 2 hours in the AM, 2 hours in the PM. Yes, I schedule that. Then I have 3 things that I am thankful for. Every morning on my schedule, I write 3 things that I'm thankful for. Friday the 13th, I was thankful for my home. I was thankful for my life, and I was thankful for my family. So then after that, we go on to the asterisks, which are, I needed to upload my Christmas XXX clips to all of my sites, which was AVN Stars, Twitter, Model Centro, Clips for Sale. Then I also had to upload the Christmas teaser, and then I put Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Vero. Then another asterisk I have where I have to write 4 hours, and I section my writing off. That's how I'm able to get some of that done. And then on that as well, underneath I have a feature Friday. That is where every Friday in December I am featuring young upcoming African American talent or people of color. And I picked Dark Angel and Andrew Zander. So that was my Friday. So if you look at my schedule, that is generally how I do it. I have how many cups of water I've taken. I have what I'm thankful for. And then I have everything I need to do on social media. I have all my promotions lined up. I have all of that stuff because you have to be organized if you want to be successful and you want to be consistent. Some people say, oh, I don't need a schedule, I'll be fine. And some people say scheduling is the only way for me. I do notice when I don't use my schedule, my life gets a little more sticky because I forget things. Like, oh, I had a photo shoot today. Oh, no, I canceled that photo shoot. I moved that to Thursday, but I don't have my schedule, so I don't know. You know what I mean? So I enjoy having a schedule just because it keeps me on the straight and narrow. And also, you can always look back at your schedule and you can always see what you had going on, like, oh, this was a busy month, or, oh, this wasn't a busy enough month. Maybe next year I can move some of these projects. If it's like a continuing long-term project, I can move them from March to April and split those things up. But yes, I do have a schedule and I keep it very concise. So thank you for that question. We will move on to the next question. The next question is, name a time in your life where you felt like giving up and you didn't. I would say in my adult film career, when I first started, a lot of people don't know, it took me about a year to even get to Hollywood. And I kept running into a lot of bad characters, where I'm an agent and I'll tell you, hey, I'm an agent, send me some pictures, and I'm, and being green and stupid, you do. Well, if you could do this, and I actually had an agent tell me straight up, if I could lose, 30 pounds, he would send me, and I lost the 30 pounds and he did not send me. So that was heartbreaking. Also had, found out one guy wasn't even an agent. He was the agent's assistant and was just getting girls to send him pictures. So that was crazy. But, even when I got into it, I remember going to California and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm, the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the skinniest, I'm the slimmest. My hair is on point. My nails are on point. I've got the personality. I've got the pizzazz. And I would go in with the go-sees, and some of them would make you feel really bad about it. Turn to the side. Oh, your butt is really big. Do you know your measurements? And then you say your measurements. And at the time I was a 36. My ass is a 38 now, so you can imagine. But I was a 36 at the time, and I remember one person like, ooh, that's a big ghetto booty. And I was like, is it a ghetto booty? Because I'm under 160 pounds, you know what I mean? And then of course, the favorite line they would give me was, girl, you would have got so much work had this been the 70s. So much work. So that let me know that I was too dark, too ethnic looking, because they said that quite a lot. And I would just feel like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? And then it got to a point where I remember going out to dinner with some folks, and one of them just told me straight up that I needed to get a nose job. If I wanted to make it in porn, I needed to get a nose job, and I needed to stay as skinny as I possibly could, no matter what. So that, I was devastated. I was like, okay, so I got to change who I am. And I had battled so hard in my younger life with my nose, with my skin color. And then to have that brought up again, I think anybody else, they would have felt like, oh my God, I'm going to have to fuck these people up. And I didn't really feel like that. I felt like, oh my God, I'm going to have to change these people's minds. I'm going to have to show them that this is beautiful, because it is beautiful. I am beautiful, and fuck whatever they're talking about. It had even gotten to a point where I was dating somebody, and him and his friends sat down and told me the reason they don't date black women. In California, when you are an African-American woman and when you are as dark as I am, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not even that dark. I'm Coco on the makeup spectrum. So go to Walgreens, CVS, or wherever and look up Coco, and you're going to be like, damn, Jessica, you're not that dark. I'm not. But for Hollywood, if you are not light bright, if you're not caramel, they make you feel like you are way too dark. You can be dark if you're really skinny, but you can't be dark. You can't have your natural hair, and you can't have a big nose. And you can't be an average weight. That's a big no-no, So I stayed there for, almost a year, and I just realized, all the shit they're doing, I could do this shit on my own. I don't need them. And so I started to do it on my own. And I had a lot of doors slammed in my face, and I had a lot of heartache and a lot of, oh my God, am I doing this wrong? And I had a lot of days where I didn't make any money. And it had got to a point in my life where I was like, I'm going to give up. I'm going to close the door on Jessica Gravitt, and I'm going to be okay. Because Jessica Gravitt, obviously, the world is not treating Jessica Gravitt right. I had almost closed down my Twitter account, almost closed down my accounts, and a friend of mine, God rest his soul, he died from a drunk driver accident. His name was Puff of Tricked Out Magazine, and before he died, he told me, and I was working a civilian job. I won't tell you which one, but I do have a degree. So I was working, and he said, Jessica, you are one of the most creative, most talented adult film stars I've seen in a while that is African American. He said, and I know that if you don't give up, you will be really big and you'll make it and people will love you. He said, you just can't give up. He said, there's not too many girls like you. He said, and then you got to think about the other girls who may want to come after you. And I hadn't really thought about it like that. For me, I had thought, okay, well, I'm supposed to be at a certain level in my life. But then I started talking to people and they're like, girl, there's no such thing as a certain level of success. Success is just like sex education. It is a constant, ongoing conversation with yourself as to define what is successful. And once that hit me, it was like, well, damn, I have been successful because I did shoot some films, with Hollywood and I am making my own stuff. And hey, you know what? It did get uploaded here and I do have multiple sites. And then I started getting that self-confidence and unfortunately, maybe 2 weeks later, my friend died. But I feel like had he never gave me the advice that he gave me, I probably would have given up because I was in that place. Like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But yeah, so that goes to show you, don't ever give up because right when you think I'm going to give up, boom, your breakthrough happens. Thanks for the question.